Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel at Living Lesh. I'm Aisha, aka Lesh, of the lifestyle brand Living Lesh, Luxe Lifestyle brand, and I am also the coach and teacher at the Influencer University. And I will tell you more about that later, but today you're probably here watching that episode because you're trying to figure out how to secure brand deals. You're an influencer, you're a blogger, you're someone who is interested in getting in the field, and you're like, you know what, I want to get paid for what I do. I mean, who doesn't? You create a bunch of content, and yes, you do it authentically. Yes, you do it because you love it. But sometimes you're like, you know what? I'm gonna make this a business. You're gonna make your passion a business, just like me, and just like a lot of other influencers and bloggers have. So I'm here today to share all of those tips. But before we get into it, I want to make sure that you hit that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel, where I'll be sharing a bunch of other tips on blogging, on being an influencer, as well as giving you behind the scenes of my day-to-day, giving you fashion tips, beauty reviews, beauty tips, travel vlogs, and also you can check out my shorts, which are now a big thing now. I'm doing a little bit of things here and there. Also, make sure to check me out on my blog, Living Lesh, as well as my Instagram and my TikTok, all Living Lesh, Living L-E-S-H. But without further ado, let's get into today's topic, and let me share with you how you can make that money. So the first thing that you should do when you are ready to start securing paid brand deals with brands is you need to establish yourself as an expert. Yes, you may love beauty products. Yes, you may love traveling. Yes, you may love fashion and style, but you need to be an expert in that niche. There are so many bloggers and influencers out there day to day, and they are popping up on different platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, websites. They're popping up at a vast rate daily. But what makes you stand out? That is what you need to do to establish yourself as an expert. Are you giving great tips? Do you know something that someone else doesn't know? Do you do something that no one else does? Because that's what's going to make you stand out. So establish yourself as an expert by vetting your brand. Who are you? What is your brand? What are the ideal colors? What shows off who you are? For example, some of the big brands we know, they establish themselves as an expert, as you want to say it, and you can establish their brand. If you see a red lowercase a, you know what it is? I bet you do. If you see a red target with a big red circle in the middle, do you know what brand that is? I'm sure you do. If you hear certain people such as Dress Up Buttercup, Dana Bolden, if you hear certain people out there such as even Kim Kardashian or another big celebrity who's an influencer, you know their brands, you know them, they've established themselves as experts and people are following them. But that doesn't mean you have to have thousands and hundreds and millions of followers. You just have to establish yourself in the space. And first, that comes with creating content. So I know I'm probably giving you some information. You're like, I've already been doing that. But make sure that you're creating high quality content. It is great to create reels. It's great to create TikToks. It's great to create and take photos on anything, but make sure you're showing your story. When I talk about high quality, I'm not saying you need to go out and buy a $1,000 camera. People create high quality content on their phones nowadays. What you need to make sure is that the content you're creating is high in value to the people who are going to be your community. That's the basic thing. I don't want to spend too much time on that because you're probably sitting there watching this going, I already know this. She's telling me things I already know. Why am I watching this? I'm about to click out. Do not click out. Stay here. We're getting more into it. So now that you have actually developed yourself, put yourself in a space, created content, you have established yourself in the field as an expert. If you do not have a media kit, the second thing you need to do is create a media kit. A media kit is super important. Whether you create a PDF version or a digital one, you need to have a media kit. What I'm offering to you right now is if you go down actually in the description of this video, there is a template that I have made for you all. It's also a blog post on how to create the media kit, what needs to be in your media kit, all of those details. But your media kit is something you need to have. I have a digital one. I've had in the past PDF ones that I have used and sent. I still use them, use the PDF one every once in a while, but now I actually use my digital media kit. And here's why I actually use a digital media kit. The digital media kit allows me to update things a lot quicker and a lot easier. I don't have to go back into the original file of the PDF, open it, and whether it's in Photoshop or Canva or some other editor, and change it and manipulate the size and move things. My digital media kit is literally a website or a web page where I'm able to go update the content, and the whatever code is behind it changes the sizing and everything for me. So I'm just editing the details, and I can do that day to day if I wanted to. I can do it week to week, and it takes me very much less time. Another big reason why I decided to go with a digital media kit is I can put it in my signature. So when I'm pitching, which we're going to get to later in this video, is I'm able to actually sneak in my media kit already, so that as I send my pitch, before sending my media kit or before they request it, it's actually already there. And even in just general emails that I'm sending to people, my media kit exists. Another reason why I have a digital media kit is I'm able to SEO optimize it. So I'm able to SEO optimize my digital media kit on a web page. That means I'm searchable. And since I've had a digital media kit, brands have actually found me just by searching certain areas. Whether they're searching for mommy bloggers, they're searching for luxe lifestyle bloggers, they're searching for Philadelphia area bloggers. My media kit comes up as well as my about page, and they can they can contact me right from there. So not saying you have a PDF media kit, oh my gosh, throw it out. Get the digital media kit because you're doing it wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just giving you a reason as to what you could be doing with the digital media kit, but you can do the same things. When you're pitching, you can send and attach your physical media kit. You can also still link your physical media kit as a PDF in your signature. So the little tip I like to give you, link that PDF, link that digital media kit in your signature and throw it in there just so it's already there for someone to start clicking on it. And if you're using a mail tracking system, you could actually start seeing a lot of people are clicking on it ahead of time along with your links that should be in your signature. As another note, if you're sending emails, make sure in your signature you have your name, your brand, the link to your website, and the link to your socials, as well as a link to your media kit. It's going to help you so much. So much more than you actually think. So make sure you have a media kit. That's step 2. Step 3, which is now getting into the little bit of the potatoes. We're not getting into the meat yet. We're getting into the potatoes of the meal. Is you need to research the ideal brands you want to work with. A way to do this is to go in, evaluate your brand, and go, what brand matches my ideals? You made a list. Maybe you made a database. You made an Excel spreadsheet. Maybe you have something on pen and paper. Whatever works for you. You research them, and now go into and look at their social media channels. First, check whether these brands are working with influencers. You can check it on their main page as well as going into their tagged posts and see if they are getting a lot of influencers who are tagging them, and look to see if it's ad or sponsored or has hashtag brand name partner. If they are working with influencers and bloggers, those are brands you should be pitching. There are certain brands you'll run into who don't work with influencers. They just don't believe it, or they're just not something they're invested in. And those are the ones you don't really want to spend a lot of time doing research to find the right contact and then pitching them and doing up all those follow-up emails, because basically you're just spinning your wheels and not getting anywhere. So once you've researched who you want to work with, you have a list, you're like, these people I want to work with. In that research while they're on your social media channels, also make notes of partnerships and content ideas that have already been created. These brands are not going to be looking for you to recreate something that's already been created. They want to tell their story, share their brand, share their product in new and innovative ways that are going to reach a different community, and your community. So make sure that you're looking to see, this is what works, this is what they like, this is kind of the schema they go with, if there's any consistencies you see. But also look at how you can change the story, change something, and keep those in your notes. I literally have a database where I have the brands I'm going to pitch. Once I do the research, I find their contact information, and next to it are notes. Yes, they work with influencers, and I usually have like a thing with a checkbox. Yes, they work with influencers. And I have notes of, here's their aesthetic, here's what they go for, here's some things they have done in the past, and then a note next to my notes of, here's how I can pitch them. Here's the unique idea I can present, which is what we're going to get into. But first, now that you've done that research, you're probably thinking, okay, well, how do I contact them? Where do I go? How do I... who am I sending this pitch to that you're about to tell me to create? You're like, where do I go? So Here are some big tips on how to find contacts. One, you can find it straight on social. If you go into their social media channel, go and DM them. Make sure you're following them first. DM them on social media and don't pitch them in the DMs, but ask them if there is a influencer or media contact that they can share. And sometimes they'll share it and sometimes they'll just say, we're gonna pass on your information. Another way, look online, look on their website. Sometimes they have a newsroom or a media room and you can find the information there. That's probably one of the easiest. Third thing, I've already done two. Number three is to go on LinkedIn. Search on LinkedIn what brands you want to work with. Search their company profile. Go onto their company profile and go into people. Once you're in people, in the search bar for people, type in influencer relations, influencer, media, and see what pops up. So there's 3 different terms. Don't put them all in at one time. Search different ones, and then you can find who exactly runs that department. Once you've found a name, do some research and see if you can discover what the email formula is. And I share all that in my influencer course, so I'm not going to get super into it, but there are a number of platforms you can go on, such as Rocket Reach, as well as a system called Clearbit that allows you to find the formula and see what works. So now that you've found them in LinkedIn or you found them on the website, now it's time to get into your pitch. Now that you're ready to pitch, it's time to get into the meat of how to secure a brand partnership. Don't always wait around for someone to come to you. Well, I always say this is you want to pull out your own seat at the table. Don't wait for an invite because you may not always get one. So one thing you should be doing is actively pitching. I send 5 to 6 pitches a week to different brands on top of following up with pitches I've done in the past. And why I do that is because sometimes I'm not always reaching the right people and there are so many opportunities out there, and I'm even sometimes re-pitching brands I've already worked with or that I've pitched before and it just wasn't the right time. So make sure you're constantly pitching, looking for ideas and sending them out there. In your pitch, you should be introducing yourself. You should be sharing who you are and what your brand is about, and you should be presenting your unique idea. If you are just saying, hey, I love your brand, I would love to work with you, what would you think about a paid partnership? You may not get a response. They're looking for you to present them with a unique idea of how you're going to share their brand and their product. Send that pitch, follow up. Don't send it on Tuesday and then follow up on Wednesday. Send it on Tuesday, follow up next Tuesday. And if you don't hear anything from them, follow up that next Tuesday. But don't send any emails and follow up within 2 to 3 days. Some brands get very annoyed. There's a lot of emails they get in their inbox. And don't forget to follow up. Sometimes, like I'm saying, with all the emails they get, they tend to forget or they lose it. It just gets lost and they still want to work with you, or they may want to work with you. They just forgot to respond to you or missed the email. So you're sending all those pitches. Now, another way to secure brand partnerships is also go on to influencer networks. Influencer networks are great for finding new brands and introducing yourself. Sometimes people say, I don't go on influencer networks because there's no negotiation. There's a lot less you can do. Yes, there are limitations to influencer networks, but one thing I will say is that from working with influencer networks, I've actually gotten into databases of other PR companies. These PR companies then got off of those databases or those networks and then came to me directly. Or I was able to find or get contact information from the PR agency through working through the network that I was able to pitch later. So don't knock them completely. There are a number of influencer networks out there, and actually in my description I have a blog post where I link a lot of influencer networks that you can join in various niches. Now, another thing you should be doing is not only just pitching brand directly, pitch PR agencies. A lot of people forget to do this and don't actually take value in it. There are a lot of brands who, yes, house their own influencer and media relations. But a lot of those big brands that you probably want to work with, such as Nike, Walmart, Target, Amazon, don't always have their own internal teams that are doing these relations. Sometimes they go with PR agencies. A lot of the brands I've worked with, such as Pennsylvania Lottery, Sony, Walmart, I've worked with Amazon, I've done through PR agencies. And these PR agencies have then been able to house my information so they can come back about their other clients. And I'm getting more and more collaborations and paid partnerships through them, through these PR agencies. So don't knock them completely. Now, if you get someone on the hook, you've pitched them, they've come back saying, yes, we would love to work with you. Make sure that you negotiate your rate. Don't always get emails and say, you know what, we're not housing this right now, but we would love to send you some product, and then you automatically start putting it up on your socials. You could get gifted product, that's great. Doesn't mean you need to share it. And if you are continuously sharing it over and over again, though yes, you should be sharing some things that you love, share your passions, connect with your community. But if brands are constantly seeing that they can just send you product and you'll post it, they probably won't start paying you, because they're now seeing they're getting free advertisement from you. And it can hurt you in the long run. So just kind of make sure that you're keeping that in mind. But make sure you negotiate your rates. In another video, I'll be sharing that. I also share that in my Influencer University course, which I'll talk about that in a second. But when you are negotiating, make sure you are setting a fair rate. A fair rate can fluctuate depending on the ask, and I'll get into that of what to charge. But what I've linked below is a post, another blog post that shares what to charge for a post on social media. But if you want to hear more about what you should be charging on brand partnerships, make sure again you subscribe to my channel. I'm posting a video about it soon, or if you're watching this later down the line, it's probably already up. Just go into my suggested videos on blogging and influencer tips and find it. But I hope you found this information valuable and that you're able to take it. And if you're looking for a little bit more one-on-one coaching, or you're looking to dive definitely deeper into your influencer business, make sure you check out the description below and find my course, the Influencer Biz course, where I'm sharing about how to run your influencer business and make it great and make it surpass everything that you think of. I'm sharing all my insider tips that has allowed me to make over 6 figures a year. Yes, over 6 figures. Granted, I will say I'm getting to that point where, the 6 figures are not the net revenue, and I explain that, but I'm generating through multiple revenue streams. So I'm sharing that, all those tips, those insider tips in my course, as well as through my one-on-one coaching sessions. Both links you can find in the description below. Again, make sure you subscribe to Living Lesh, and I'll see you next time. Bye.